All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. And my name is Judson Powell. Thank you for joining me. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Please hit all the buttons for me. Thank you very much. I want to continue to talk about the riots and the fallout from what's been happening around the country, and as a matter of fact, around the world. There have literally been protests over police brutality all around the world. And so I just want to say, first of all, we don't have a leader. So it's going to be very difficult to solve the problems. First of all, because we don't have a leader. And so right now, the rioting and all of that is basically, it's not falling on deaf ears, but it's not falling on the ears of people who can actually change anything. All right, so that's what I've been wanting to say. And so last night I posted and I said, I basically said, what's our end game? What's the end game? How's all this going to end? How's it going to play out? Because, you know, we live in the worldwide, the reason why I mentioned the worldwide protest is because we live in a world society. We don't live in a microcosm like it used to be in the old days, where you can get on a plane and pretty much be anywhere within a few hours, within less than a day. You can actually pretty much travel around the world in less than a day. So let's understand, and what I look at as my opinion and my solutions. All right, I've thought about this in depth, and my opinion, first of all, is that we don't have a leader. Trump is not the one. He's not, and that's why I keep telling everybody, people are coming at me about telling people to vote for Biden. But the difference is that at least Biden is somebody who will sit down at the table with you and talk to you. All right, he will at least do that. Trump is not that guy, and Trump is not even the guy who can sit down with world leaders. I mean, basically, he has cut ties and cut relationships with everybody. If you go back to the beginning of his presidency, I mean, all he has done is pulled out of every treaty we've ever been in, pulled out of every trade agreement we've ever been in, pulled out of every alliance or allegiance that we've ever been in. So basically, we're sitting out here, on our own. And that's definitely the way it is when it comes to police brutality against black people. Remember, all of this brutality, most of these cases started to come up at the end of Barack Obama's term, at the end of his second term, and then continued to escalate through the time of the election, and then after the election into Trump's presidency. But he has never took a leadership position. And even now, his latest, his thing has always been, like right now, his thing is release dogs on the protesters. Like I said, like he's Bull Connor or something from the 60s. And he wants the governors, he's telling the governors that they're not tough enough and they need to attack these protesters and be more, aggressive with the protesters and all that kind of stuff. But that's not how you solve this. Every problem has a different solution. And, and some problems have several solutions, but one thing is not to tell law enforcement officers to escalate it when they started it is not really a viable solution. That's not a solution. That's crazy. And I look at it like this, and then the other thing is, and then he's calling for, just basically he wants more conflict. To put it simply, he wants more conflict. And I don't know if that's part of the white nationalist, white supremacist agenda. And I know right now, and we see right now out on the street, we see like a lot of Caucasians that are out there that are starting this stuff. It's not necessarily, this is not Africans or descendants of Africans or African Americans. That's not who's really doing all of this. The peaceful parts of the protest, yeah, we're doing it. But then the violence and the looting and all of that, we're seeing so many pictures and so many reports of Caucasians who are looting and doing it. They caught one guy, I guess he's like, I don't even know, he's some, some star or something, or athlete or something like that. Then they say he has $19 million, and they show him in a store looting a store. And they say he's worth $19 million. Why? Because they're trying to escalate this into a race war. And it's not really, and the other thing is, solution-wise, we have to look at it for what it is. It's racial, but it's police brutality. And the people that can control the police are the people that are in charge of the police commissioners, the police chiefs, the mayors, etc., the governors. All of those people on those levels, they can control it. But there has to be leadership from the top that wants to have it done. And Trump is not the one at the top trying to get it done. And the solution has to come from everybody. Now, when it comes down to black people, I understand what's going on. I mean, let's put it, there's a group of black people that just want to, say F it and let's go to war. All right? And let's kill all the white people. There's a faction of people that are like that. Then you have a faction of people that want to make peace and want everything to be peaceful so that everybody in the country can get back to normal. And then you have all different types of ways to get into those different situations. Now, personally, I don't think that a full all-out race war is something that's going to work, because of the fact that as soon as anything like that would happen, 100%, especially with Trump as president, there would be a full all-out, murdering of black people. And they have the weaponry and the tanks and the personnel carriers and all that stuff. Whatever they need, they have to do, even right down to nuclear weapons and all of that. So at this point in history, is that a viable solution? No. Will it? And the other thing is, it won't prove a point either. Why? Because the leadership is not going to listen to that point, because they don't care. As long as you have white nationalists and white supremacists in the top positions and in positions that are going to matter to anything, then that's not going to change anything, because all it's going to do is create what? An antagonistic situation. It's not going to quell anything. All right. And then as far as the people that say, we want peace, then I don't think that's going to work either. There has to be a happy medium. So that's why when I was somebody confronted me about, the fact of why I didn't get mad at the people. They're like, well, on one side, looting is a crime, and the protest should be peaceful. And they were like, well, why are you supporting what they're doing, the rioting and the looting and the, damaging property and all that kind of stuff? And I said, look, I don't necessarily condone that, but I understand it. I mean, I understand why they're doing it, because they have no other way to get their voice heard. But the ironic part about it is that the person that they're trying to get, the president of the United States, doesn't really care. And that's the problem. He doesn't, the president of the United States is not trying to get a solution to this problem. And that's the problem with that approach. So with either approach, it's like we're dealing with a guy who doesn't care. And when you have somebody that has no feeling about it either way, and they really don't care, because once again, it was like I was telling everybody during the height of the coronavirus thing, it's like, look, all this stuff is designed so that the white nationalists can steal all of the money out of the treasury and roll. They don't care. They already divested all the money. The stock market is crashed, basically. They're printing money that's worth nothing. The Federal Reserve is just passing out money, and it's not backed by anything. Unemployment has gone, I think they said 41 million people have applied for unemployment since the beginning of coronavirus. There are more people being unemployed every day, so, and the other thing is, and we just got, and basically everybody's been on quarantine. And then all of a sudden now, everybody was ready to explode. You know, it's almost like Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. It was a hot day. Everybody tensions were rising and tensions were rising, and boom, then all of a sudden it exploded. Because, I mean, the murder of Ahmaud Arbery was a lot worse, but there was some protest, but it didn't go worldwide. But now people are just fed up and they're sick and tired. But the problem is the so-called leader of the free world, the president of the United States of America, doesn't care. And when you have somebody in that position who doesn't care, then what's going to happen? Because no matter what action you take to try to get attention, you're not getting any attention. I mean, to be honest, the protests are going in one ear and out the other at this point, because he's saying, look, sick the dogs on them. Y'all are being weak. Sick the dogs on them, shoot them, do something. That's what the president of the United States is saying. And these people have legitimate beef. Police brutality is real. It's been real since I was a kid. It's been, the reason why the Black Panthers was started is what? Police brutality. The police brutality in Oakland was horrible. And basically, it was started why? It was started so that they could protect the citizens, the black citizens of Oakland, from the police. So they were like, look, we'll police our own areas. And now it's gotten so out of hand, and like I said, this stuff has to begin at the top. It can't be, this is not something that's handled, it's handled at the grassroots level, but it has to come from the top. The top person has to be saying, like, look, let's have meetings, let's do this, let's do whatever needs to be done, and and the same thing, you haven't really even seen Congress, the Congress people doing anything either. They're not talking about making any new laws or legislation that would prevent police brutality. And then we come to find out, and most of these incidents are because of a ongoing atmosphere that has been set at that level. Because when police do things, most of the time they are acquitted, or they're not even charged with crimes. So it's just a natural thing. They feel like, hey, this is our right to do this. We can get away with it. And they feel like they have the right to abuse people and to say whatever they want to people and do whatever they want to do to people. Even during these riots, we've seen stories, all kinds of stories. I haven't read about it, but my wife said that they literally pulled a pregnant woman out of a car and stomped her stomach until she had a miscarriage. Stuff like that. Why? That's inhumane. That's not even human. Who does that? And would you, think about the golden rule. Would you want somebody to do that to your pregnant wife or daughter or sister or aunt or anybody else? You wouldn't want that. Of course not. And that's the final peg of it is that they don't see us as human. And that's why I keep saying about this whole white nationalist thing, because they think that that the country, the United States of America, is only for them and nobody else. And they look at everybody else as being less than human or the servants for them. And I've seen all kind of posts from these white nationalists and white supremacists, talking about, how we need to get in our place and all this kind of stuff, because that's the way they feel. But until it's illegal, just like people made it politically incorrect or politically incorrect to talk about homosexuals or transgender people and all that kind of stuff, it needs to be the same. I can go on the internet and say the N-word anytime I want. But if I call somebody the F-word who was gay, they would, that's a hate crime. So why isn't this stuff hate crimes? Why aren't they putting these people in jail? Why aren't they making laws against police brutality? I mean, it's crazy. And like I said, and even the ones that do this vigilante stuff, like in Arbery's case, that was vigilantism. And then why are you trying to crucify the victim? The dead person is the one that's vilified and crucified. That's who they get. That's who they go after. So anyway, fastest 15 minutes is up. Think about these things. What's the end game? What is our end game? Fastest 15 minutes is up. I'm Judson Powell. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. I love you.